All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are once again. I'm naming this Cup Preview for Kansas because it was a disappointment. It's disappointing. I mentioned this in the live shows that if I don't title certain things, certain titles, people just don't watch. I don't understand why. I don't understand why people just click on the picks videos. I don't understand why certain key videos people don't watch unless I explicitly title it something. But it's an absolute shame that the video I made last week titled Data That I Trust for Intermediates only got 276 views. Criminally underviewed. Criminally not checked out. I don't understand that at all. My F1 video that is 4 minutes long, 259 views. My Xfinity and truck preview, 333 views. The one video that I should have just titled Cup Series at Darlington has had no views. I implore you to watch that video. If not, this is roughly going to be the exact same video again, but we're going to be looking back at the Darlington race. And now I understand that, and we're going to look back at the Darlington race and yet again at intermediate tracks to look forward to this weekend at Kansas. Now, I understand that you may feel like there's nothing to learn from Darlington, and I'm pleading with you. I'm asking you, don't look at it that way. It's not a simple black and white. I want to paint the picture of Darlington, and I want to explain to you the anomaly of the race on a fantasy perspective that we witnessed, okay? This is a once-in-a-lifetime, never seen, might be a trend moving forward. We're seeing Fontana be a wreckfest high-wear track. We're seeing with bumps. We're seeing Darlington high-wear track with bumps become a wreckfest. I understand that, but I would still like to learn, like to look at data that we could pull from that and use continuing on to this week. Okay? Now, first and foremost, I want to point out things that we just don't see. You know, I understand you want to look at Darlington as that's a wreckfest, or that just the Cup Series being the Cup Series, that just them wrecking the field, that just drivers being dumb. I'm asking you, let's look at the data. I'm sorry I'm being annoying, but I'm serious. Let's analyze the catastrophe that Darlington was and understand what we can still view from it, and understand that yes, it turned into a wreckfest. Yes, it was random, and I'm not trying to sound holier than thou, but the winning lineups, the lineups that cashed, got extremely lucky. You know, some weeks luck goes your way, some week it doesn't. But if you won last weekend, you survived the chaos. You got lucky, and that's okay. I've been lucky. I'd rather be lucky than good most of the days, but we need to realize that nearly all of the fast laps and laps led points were lost. Didn't matter. They were erased. All the cars that had a chance to win, all the cars that were fast got wrecked out, and that's not me being like, speaking generally. No, the fastest cars multiple times got taken out in the race, got taken out due to issues, got collected in wrecks. Let's really take a look at it. Joey Logano, and I'll put stuff on the screen in a bit. Joey Logano finished first, won the race, had 30 fast laps, 107 laps led. Okay, all right, that's fine. He was out there in front. Let's go and look at the rest of the lap leaders, okay? And this is wild. We've never seen this before. We've never seen laps distributed this way and being erased this way. Ross Chastain finishes 30th, 27 fast laps, 26 laps led. Self-spins, takes himself out. Kyle Larson. Actually, I'll even rank these guys in terms of speed, and then we'll look at some laps and where they were. But Ross Chastain, arguably the third fastest car of the day, taken out. Kyle Larson, arguably one or two in terms of rankings, in terms of the fastest cars, taken out. 18 laps led, or 30 laps led, 18 fast laps. Erased. Finishes 36, removed from play. Denny Hamlin, third. Let's honestly argue, third to fourth fastest car, race-winning car. 7 fast laps, 42 laps led, finishes 21st. Pretty much erased. Not in contention, not being used. William Byron, a guy who had no business leading laps. A guy who literally needed all the big guys to wreck, to lead laps. It happens. And then he's also wrecked at the end of the race. William Byron finishes 13th when Joey Logano moves him out of the way. Which, do you know why Joey Logano moved him out of the way? Because you can't pass in this car. There is no passing in this car. This car is terrible. The dirty air is terrible. It's made out of styrofoam, okay? There's major issues with this next-gen car that these drivers are seeing, and that's why Logano bumped him into the wall, because he wasn't going to get by him. You know, why is Byron so mad that Logano bumped into the wall? Because Logano trashed his car. Do you know why he trashed his car? Because his car cannot survive hits. William Byron, 16 fastest laps, 24 laps led, finishes 13th. Tyler Reddick finishes second, 23 fast laps, 10 laps led. Okay, he survived. Martin Truex Jr. finishes 24th, 12 fast laps, 28 laps led, finishes 24th. Erased, removed, really not in contention. You know, Kyle Busch, the fastest car, the absolute best play. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm explaining to you, and I'm not exaggerating. We've had two incredibly rare instances of massive implications. Dover, Denny Hamlin has the best car, is basically not even owned, 15% owned at Darlington. I did not have Denny Hamlin. This is not me arguing for Denny Hamlin. I did not have Denny Hamlin at Dover, but I was sweating bullets. I was shitting bricks because Denny Hamlin had the best car at Dover. Okay? Absolute no reason Denny Hamlin should not win that event. Pit road, he gets screwed on pit road by his teammate or by his team members, and then is wrecked by a lap car. Gets damage from the lap car. Low owned, 15% owned. The best car. Nobody owns him. He gets taken out. Kyle Busch. I had 60% Kyle Busch this week. The data showed me that I need to play Kyle Busch. It's clear as day. Kyle Busch is going to be the best play. Going to be the best car. He's owned at 11%. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not even me being like, you should have played him. We should never have Kyle Busch at 11% ownership. I don't know if it was due to the questionable tag by him. I don't know if it was due to people thinking he was not going to race. I don't know why you wouldn't think he was not going to race. There was no indication that he would not race. There was no indication that Trevor Bayne would take over. Okay, sure, Trevor Bayne was there as a relief driver, but there was no indication that Kyle Busch would not finish this race. There was data points left and right pointing towards looking at how he performed at Las Vegas, looking at how he performed at Dover, looking at how he performed in those practice sessions at those respective racetracks, how he performed in the long runs at those racetracks, how he ran in the practice session at Darlington, that Kyle Busch would be the best play. This is an alarm. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did not play Hamlin at Dover, if you did not play Kyle Busch at Darlington, you're making mistakes. We're being saved by variance. 2 weekends in a row, the fastest car is low owned, is not played, has a for sure chance to run away with this race, and is wrecked by cars wrecking in front of them. I can't make this up. Do you understand how rare that is? Do you understand how rare it is that we even get low ownership on the fastest cars, much less have them get wrecked out later in the race? You know, we're being saved here. We need to be aware that if we didn't play those guys at those tracks, we have been saved. Okay? Same thing with Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain has been showing competitive laps at every single racetrack that we've been at this year, and specifically the intermediate tracks. I talked about it. That's why I'm saying go check out the data that I trust for intermediates. That video breaks down exactly who I like this month and why I like them. When we look at Ross Chastain, 28 fast laps, 83 laps led at Vegas. When we got to Dover, Ross Chastain, 38 fast laps, 86 laps led at Dover. When we look at the race this weekend, despite the fact the man self-spun himself and wrecked himself, Ross Chastain, if I can get there, Ross Chastain, 27 fast laps, 26 laps led. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not playing Ross Chastain, you need to be playing Ross Chastain. And I'm not saying 20, 25%. No. These are indications that we need to be overweight on the field of both Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain. These are the guys showing up consistently that we are not owning. I understand we had a lot of ownership on Kyle Larson, and it was warranted. I support where the ownership came in at. I think it's 60% Kyle Busch, that was 50% on Larson. We got lucky with Larson too, or not even lucky. I didn't cash last week. Look, you can clearly understand the way my weekend went, and that's not me complaining. That's me looking at how Darlington went, looking at how players are playing these contests, and understanding that I'm doing this correctly. I know that makes it sound like I'm coming up with excuses, but that's the takeaway that I'm seeing right here. I need to be in the future this weekend, this month. Maybe not for the All-Star race. The All-Star race, don't even put money on that. Don't waste money on that, blah, blah, blah. But Kansas and Charlotte, the 600, I want to be at 50 or higher % on Chastain. I want to at least be 40 to 45% on Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. That's just where we're at right now. Those are the main takeaways that I'm seeing from these guys that have the fast laps, that have the fast times. When we look at Logano, 30 fast laps, 107 laps led. How did he get that? What did he back up? What has he shown from us? You know, when we look at the previous intermediate tracks, Las Vegas, he did nothing. He was not there. When we look at Dover, he was not there. When we look at the guys who have been doing stuff, and yet again, it's Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., same thing there. You need to be overweight on those guys, you know? And clearly, Elliott, Larson, Bowman, Byron, when the practice data supports that. But we're seeing guys who are consistently fast, who are consistently showing speeds at these intermediate tracks that we are just, as a DFS industry, failing to be overweight on. I mean, these are guys that I want to play. You know, Kyle Busch, Chastain, Denny Hamlin, and Truex. These are the four gentlemen that I want at least 3 of every week this month in every line. And at least 2 bare minimum if we're going to be throwing in people like Larson, Bowman, Byron, whatever the other person is that we're seeing from practice that we want to throw in. But between Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex Jr., I want at least 2 of those. I would like 3 of those in every single line. That's what we need to be at. And it's not like, oh, I want, you know, one guy to be at 50% and then 10%. No, I want to be straight up telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I want to be around 50%, if not higher, on all 4 of those gentlemen I just mentioned there. Because those are guys proving, showing time and time again that they are going to be getting fast laps. They are going to be up there getting laps led. They are going to be there in these races, okay? That's why I'm saying I understand we want to look back at Darlington and be like, well, you know, it was a wreck fest. You know, that's just how it goes. But that's the takeaway, man. It blew my mind, man. It's not even me being tilted from how the race went. It's me being just not understanding how the ownership is breaking down. We're seeing constant evidence to support Chastain is going to have a fast car. Hamlin is going to have a fast car. Truex is going to have a fast car. Combine that with the pit data. We have our dominators. I know I don't want to use that fucking word either, but that's what it is. It's clear as day. The data is showing us who it is. It's not like we enter each week and be like, oh, who's going to lead laps this week for the Cup Series? Who's going to be there? We can see it clear as day. It's supported at Las Vegas, at Dover, at this week at Darlington. It's the same people, week in, week out, the same teams. That's who you got to play. That's who we need to play. Okay? At that point, when we look back at the value range this weekend as well, yet again, take a step back. Don't necessarily look at how the race finished with everybody wrecking out. But where is the ownership going? This is showing like, sure, Corey LaJoie was a great play. That's just how it is. LaJoie's going to wreck sometimes. That's variance. That's what's going to happen. That's just what it is. Okay? However, when we're that close, and I know we're going to be in a situation like this again, we need to see that the ownership is just going to follow where these guys start, okay? So you had Haley, you had Cole Custer, and you had Corey LaJoie starting there. Everybody else was technically starting higher up than where they should have. And I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, well, Gilly Gang was optimal." That's the worst takeaway from the weekend as possible. It shouldn't be, "Oh, Todd Gilliland is clearly the best value play." That's the worst fucking takeaway that I've heard on Twitter this week, is that you should just trust Gilly Gang because even in a bad race, he's still. That's the fucking worst. Don't be that guy. Don't take that stance. Understand why that happened. Understand where people went. It'll help you make better lines, man. That's just how it is, And this week was showing that. Yes, I understand when we look in final scoring for the back markers, for Ware, McLeod, certainly was a wreck fest, But when we look at how these guys were performing in the race, and this is why I encourage you to remove the money that you have at stake in these contests and look at the contest in terms of how the lineups are being built, where your lineup is compared to other people's lineups, and what live scoring is between drivers, specifically the value range, man. Because when races go green, Brandon, and it just turned to a wreck fest last weekend at Darlington. Why are you going to play races that go when races go green? Because that's what I want to project for. Okay, you're going to see guys really close together in this value range, especially in weeks where it's just the 36 charters and we don't have more than 36 cars on the track. We're going to have guys that are min salary and guys that are 5,200. That whole region is probably going to be separated by maybe 12 points, maybe 15. If everybody starts where they should, or God forbid they overqualify like they did this weekend and then it goes green, that range is going to be extremely close together. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be who hits value in these ranges. It's going to be just who outscores, who has the highest score in this range if nobody hits value, or who's the best point per dollar play, even if it's a low-scoring driver in your lines. Those are the main takeaways that I want to take away from Dover. That's what I want to say here, and that's what I tried to explain to people entering Darlington. I understand Darlington turned to a wreck fest. I understand the grand scheme of things, none of this really matters because it turned to a wreck fest. And a lot of these things that I'm saying are what ifs, and if this doesn't happen, then this happens, and blah, blah, blah. But look, I've explained to you, I've shown you, I've talked to you about how big of an anomaly the Darlington race was. And we're entering Kansas. And sir, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the Coca-Cola 600, the main Big Daddy race this month, is going to be you playing at least two of Chastain, Hamlin, Truex, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson. That's the pool for the primary lap leaders. That's it. That's how it is. So let's take a look and see how these guys were doing. Here, all right, so this is the lap by lap data of Darlington, which you can support us in the link in the description below. You can join the Patreon and get access to this. If you like what I do here, consider throwing me a donation on PayPal. Consider throwing a donation through Patreon. Whatever the case is, if you like this type of content, if you want to support me, or if you'd like to give me a birthday gift, because my birthday is later this month on the 29th, I would appreciate that. But let's dive in and look. And when we look specifically at, and yet again, this is not me being like, I told you so, or this is me showing why I thought certain ways entering Darlington, why I think they're still going to be relevant entering this weekend at Kansas, and that's why I've titled this Cup Series preview at Kansas, because nobody fucking watched the last video because it wasn't titled fucking Cup Series preview at Darlington. Okay, so Joey Logano, right off the bat, does not have the best car, not showing speed. I'm not even telling you, is he gonna, Joey Logano's race hinges on this point leading right off the bat. You need to lead right off the bat, Logano. You need to have the best car. He does not have that. Kyle Larson takes over, shows the short run speed, shows the long run speed, shows that, look, I understand it's Darlington. I understand it's a one-groove racetrack. I understand it's a very thin track. But on these restarts, if the leader pulls away, you cannot pass the fucking guy unless there's lap cars, okay? You are not catching the leader. You are SOL if you don't make the pass on the leader on the restart. You cannot pass in these cars, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot. Unless you have a faster car, then you can maybe get through the field, but you are not catching the leader. Okay, we have the early yellow on lap 4 involving Keselowski. Yes, involving Keselowski. Which, shout out to Keselowski, doesn't spin out, doesn't hit the wall. Or he spins out but doesn't hit the wall. Anyway, so we enter the restart. Kyle Larson has the best car. When we look at the guys who are showing speed, able to maintain his position. Martin Truex Jr. right here. Able to we don't have the fast laps, actually. Able to maintain his position right here. Who is in second right now? It's Logano. Now, Logano is showing that he can at least hold second place, and that can be determined by how the restarts are going because, the leader pulls away, and then it's Logano beating the guy in second. He kind of pulls away, and then everybody else is kind of fighting for the dominant lane. I understand that. But when we look at that as a whole and then compare that to Dover, compare that to Las Vegas, we're seeing very similar patterns over here in terms of racing. So we get to the yellow on lap 32. People pit in, people get more tires, blah, blah, blah. Where does the pit road strategy come into place? Where does this happen? Larson loses the lead on pit road to Logano due to Logano's pit crew. Logano having extremely fast cars. When we look at where people came into pit road and came out of pit road, terrible pit stop, loses time by Eric Almirola, gains positions, William Byron. Ryan Blaney gains positions. Some people are having slow pit stops here. That's just how it is. Some people are making adjustments to the cars, but we need to keep this in mind. Who's gaining positions? Who's losing positions right here? What's happening? What's the story? When we look at the big contenders here, Truex, pit road, very consistent, in third, out fourth. I think that's more so just them, that's fine. A net gain and net loss of 1 or 2, that's perfectly fine. Let me blow my nose right now. But yeah, we get here. We're seeing Truex maintaining the position here. Sure, he drops to 5th, back to 4th before the yellow comes out. Okay, who else is holding these positions here? Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain starts 8th, goes to 6th. We have a yellow. Restarts 7th. I assume it's just the lane he was in. Able to show the speed. Passes 6th. Goes up to 5th. We have the yellow. In pit road 5th. Comes out 8th. Able to cut through the field. Goes from 8th to 4th. Up to 3rd. We get the yellow. Chastain is showing speed. We're knowing that Truex is going to maintain a top 5 running position. We're seeing that. Who else is here? I'm trying to look through. We're seeing Kyle Busch yet again. This, I'm telling you, right here, shitting bricks, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely shitting bricks if you don't have Kyle Busch. Mr. Baby Man, he's going to be removed from the car. You got to be shitting bricks here when you're seeing Kyle Busch carrying this speed, man. This is absolutely insane. Anyway, Kyle Larson spins out right here. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I have no idea. Big brain Larson fucking self-spinning. I can't help that. I don't know why Kyle Larson is racing like an idiot here. Anyway, and I do fully believe that is what ends up causing Larson run engine failure later in the race. Don't know what he's doing there. Whatever the case is, guy running 3rd spins out. Due to the yellow here, I guarantee you that it was Logano went in 1st, came out 1st again on the speed. So we're seeing that Kyle Busch is both carrying long run speed and short run speed. We can back this up. I don't have the exact number at the moment, but I would argue that Kyle Busch is getting some of his fast laps right now because Kyle Busch ends the day with 15 fast laps, and he isn't necessarily in clean air for the longest part of the race. Actually, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Kyle Busch is only in the lead for 19 laps. Kyle Busch has 15 fast laps led in this race. I'm going to argue that he doesn't even have 10 of the fastest laps here. He's getting those fast laps in traffic in this race. Because these are not all coming when he's in first place. There's no way he's doing that, because we're seeing Kyle Busch back that up previously. Excuse me. When we look back at Dover, when we look back, and I pull this stuff up again. I'm sorry. When we look back at Dover, how many fast laps did Kyle Busch have at Dover? Kyle Busch had 35, led 103 laps. He's leading, not necessarily getting the fast laps. We're seeing that this year the leader is not necessarily getting the fastest laps, because usually the leader is just not the fastest car on track. It's based on pit road. It's based on where the tires are, who is in front of who. When we look back at Las Vegas, Kyle Busch, 26 fast laps, 49 laps led at Las Vegas. There's a chance that his fast laps are not coming here when he's in first place, but him being at least in the top 5 gives him access to those situations of having the fast laps. Let's argue the same thing with Truex. Truex, 34 fast laps at Vegas, 56 fast laps at Dover. Basically didn't lead fuck all in both those races. When we look at how Truex is running here and where he is at in terms of fast laps, we're seeing that Martin Truex Jr. had 12 fast laps, okay? Where is Truex right now? Is he ever in a position where he just has the clear road in front of him? Nope, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, nope, 4th, 1st. Okay, he gets the lead here, during green flag pit stops. Okay, we can argue that he might get in here, but what is keeping him there? What is maintaining him there? Because he does lose the lead at the end of the long run, and then we have the yellow right here, and then he doesn't get the lead back. But he's maintaining his running position in the top 5. That gives him a chance, to get fast laps. That's what you want to see from your guys. Clearly, he makes a mistake here, causes the wreck on lap 261, but he's in the top 5. These are what we want out of our guys. So if you enter this week, if you've entered Dover, and this is not me scolding, this is me telling myself this, and in turn hoping you get the idea too. I need to be playing fucking Martin Truex Jr. I need to be playing Kyle Busch. I need to be playing Denny Hamlin. I need to be playing Ross Chastain, and you need to be playing them too. Not 10, not 15, not 20. You want to be over the field. You want to be overweight on these guys because they have consistently been top 5 cars, top 5 drivers, and drivers that are racing in the top 5 at intermediates this year. All right, so we're on the Kyle Busch bandwagon here. Sure, Kyle Busch is in 3rd right now. We're seeing that Logano does maintain the lead. He's making changes. That's why I'm saying, sure, we're 80-something laps in the race. Cars are going to change. Teams can make changes based on. At this point, Logano knows what he needs, okay? But does Logano have the opportunity to stay in the lead here if Larson is not in the top 5? If we're having situations to where we're not running into this many yellows. We had 3 yellows right off the bat. 3 chances to make changes on these cars right off the bat. I would argue, even at the end of stage 1, that's the 4th time down pit road. You can make air pressure adjustments. You can make changes on what the chassis wants to do. You can make a lot of changes. Logano is running a good race. This is showing that he's showing speed. Wasn't able to show it previously at Dover. Wasn't able to show it previously at Las Vegas. We even look back at Dover last weekend. I'm telling you, these tracks all go together. Where is Logano in terms of speed at Dover last weekend? I'm gonna have to control that far now. Hello, where are we at? Hello. Good Lord, what are we doing here? Logano was never in clean air at Dover. Never able to gain positions here. Clearly got trap lap down late in the race, ran into an issue, but not showing speed here. This is the wonder of this car and how fucking dog shit this package is. Clean air, able to bring a car that I would probably project for a 10th place car, having the opportunity to be out there in front, having the opportunity to make changes, stand there. What happens under the green flag pit stops? Losing positions on green flag pit stops here. Stays out a bit later than other guys. No, not sure why he did that. I don't know why you wouldn't just short pit here. But staying out later than other guys. Look at the people who short pitted. Denny Hamlin goes from 7th to 5th because you're short pit. Martin Truex Jr. goes from 4th to 1st because you're short pit. That's another thing. I don't understand why these teams stay out in green flag runs. That's another hindrance to certain teams. I don't want to play guys that are going to be staying out in the long run. It just doesn't fucking make sense, Yet again, more reason showing we want to play Hamlin. We want to play Truex. We want to play Chastain. We want to play these guys. And this isn't me being like, oh, hindsight's 2020. We should be playing these guys. This is me. Yet I'm sorry. I know it's getting annoying. I know I've repeated myself at least 5 times this episode. But I'm imploring you that these are the guys we have to play. This is the data that is showing us these are the people we need to play. Okay, and at this point, we have not ran into major issues. Okay, Larson has blown an engine, but okay, this track still has usable data. This race still has usable data. It's not just spreadsheet worrying and being like, oh, well, this was a fucking wreck fest. Just throw this out. Oh, these guys got bad finishes. That's just a bust. Don't be tilted by this, okay? I'm talking to you as a man who lost $500 this weekend on this race. I'm not tilted at this. I did everything right. I'm very happy with the process. Sometimes things just do not work out, and that's how it is sometimes. It's okay. As long as you're in the ballpark, as long as your approach is right, it's going to work out. I'm telling you, it's 2 weeks in a row that variance has taken out the best cars. I would have lost a ton of money at Dover if Hamlin wasn't taken out. This isn't me being sour. This is me looking at this. How can I learn from this? How can I be a better DFS NASCAR player? What are the points? What are the data points that I can look at and learn from? Learn how to get better, or learn what I need to look at. That's what we're at right now. Okay. Thank you for spending half an hour with me. We're almost through with this. I know. We're almost through. It's okay. It's all right. We're getting there. Anyway, we continue going to Logano. I'm pretty sure this is when Kyle Busch, showing speed. Clearly Kyle Busch slow on pit road here in relative to the other top 5 guys, running 5th, making up spots here, running lap traffic, and a wreck. And that's just how it goes. It's okay. I understand. And don't shit on Kyle Busch for leaving his fucking car there. I don't blame him, man. I don't blame him. Can you enjoy, seriously, honest to God, can you blame any of these drivers for racing this piece of shit car and then trying to fake being happy? Kyle Busch can't even turn left in the garage. William Byron gets thrown to the wall and is like, he can't pass me. He has to race me. This car, it's broken. It got in the wall. I'm on fire coming across the start finish line. Don't hate the drivers. Don't hate what these guys are having to do. This car sucks. Anyway, all right, we have the incident that takes out Kyle Busch. Okay, all right, that's another top 5 car we don't have to necessarily worry about. Where are we at in terms of long run speed? We're seeing that Chastain, who short pitted, able to gain position, able to chase down and pass Martin Truex Jr., who at that point had been absolutely pulling away, and we had seen that Tyler Reddick had I believe he short pit as well. He was one of the first ones to short pit. If you look at where they were at, he was part of the first cycle. So actually Reddick went from 10th to 2nd here in the long run. Clearly we have to cycle through. That's why worst case scenario, we have a yellow in this, span of 7 laps, because we need everything to cycle through. But we're seeing that Reddick cycled through, played it correctly, Who had the fastest car here? Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain gets here, maintains the lead yet again. If you're here and you haven't had Kyle Busch and you're like, oh fuck, I don't have Kyle Busch. Oh, he got taken out. I got lucky. That you're being saved here, people. Ross Chastain, and I'm saying that because Chastain should be at 40% owned each and every week. I don't know why his ownership is anything lower than that. And I understand that people aren't going to just build lines and just have everybody at 40% owned, but that's really what everybody should be realistically owned at, because the 4 main drivers that I've mentioned, and you can include, whatever Hendrick drivers are showing speed from practice, they all have, I would argue, around a 40%, if not higher chance of being optimal each and every week, but their ownership is not showing that. Anyway, we get here. Chastain has the fastest car. You're sweating bullets. You're shitting bricks right here. I don't have Chastain, or I don't have enough Chastain. And then Chastain gets wrecked, or he wrecks himself. And you're like, okay, I got lucky there. Woo! This is the wrong mentality to have. Who's getting the lead from Chastain's been out? It's Hamlin here. Yet again, Hamlin didn't have him at Dover. Got lucky. If you didn't have him at Dover, you got lucky. Hamlin shows up again. at this point has taken over the reins of being the best car on the track because we're just losing people. We're losing Larson, Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain. 3 of, I would argue, the top 6 cars in this race taken out at this point. Hamlin takes the lead. Hamlin has the fastest car at this point. And then, we have other things happen. And so, yes, Logano maintained his track position. Logano was there, but Logano took advantage of other guys constantly running into issues. Hell, even if you want to look at Byron, Byron maintained a running position inside the top 10 all day. He's going to be getting fast laps from that, even if he doesn't have the lead. He's going to be there getting fast laps. These are guys that we need to at least consider playing and having ownership to. Got the lead on this pit cycle here. Pit road played into it again. Clearly then he gets wrecked again. But that's how it is. Where did Haley gain these positions from? From the restarts, from pit road. How did Harvick get these positions? Harvick isn't showing the speed here. When we're looking at where Harvick's running, top 15 car, not really anything more than that. Chase Elliott, same thing. Chase Elliott, actually, this should be quite kind of bad for Elliott. Elliott had all these things go wrong to other competitors who should have been in front of him, and he still couldn't get through the field. It took him all the way to the end of the race to get 5th position, or to get 6th position. Michael McDowell, I got a message. I was like, man, next time you show Michael McDowell, I'm going to play him. It's rough, man. It's absolutely rough. McDowell's day. It's crazy. Here, we'll even look at McDowell, and I need to adjust these colors here. I need to swap up from red to green, but I'll do that in a second. McDowell, 12% of his laps in the top 10, 30% of his laps in the top 15, 62% of his laps in the top 20, 95 in the top 25, 22nd, 24th, 25th, 20th. That's where we're seeing McDowell running. This is the tail of the tape. Brought to you by Modelo, or brought to you by P3, or whatever the UFC is sponsored. Whatever the tail of the tape is sponsored by on the UFC now. This is the tail of the tape right here. Far right on the lap by lap data. I can't just keep showing this stuff. I'm trying to get you guys to join. I'm trying to explain why I'm looking at these certain guys, but this is the tail of the tape. This shows where these people had brand. This shows where these guys are. Even if you go down here and look at the guys who are wrecked out of the race. Actually, we need to adjust this here. Actually, not him, Keselowski. But like Kyle Busch, he was wrecked, ran 40% of his laps in the top 5, 60% of his laps in the top 10, And it's basically ending where he was wrecked, Actually, at this point, he ran 100% of his laps, actually outside of this one, in the top 10. That's what we're seeing. We're basically seeing 100% of his laps in the top 10. He's there. Kyle Larson, I know he got spun out, so we're going to see more laps back here, but we're seeing that he's running laps here. When we look at Ross Chastain, 52% of his laps in the top 5. Ladies and gentlemen, that's constant. It's a constant. You can flip a coin and say, look, that's how much Chastain is going to be a top 5 driver, getting laps, getting fast laps. These are the takeaways. This is why. I guess I should have named it correctly last weekend, but this is why I have named this Cup Series Preview for Kansas, because this is the data we want to look at. This is the data we want to use for Kansas and what we want to use for the Coca-Cola 600 in 2 weeks on the 29th, on my birthday. So if you'd like to donate, if you want to be nice, if you like the video, whatever the case is, consider joining the Patreon. Consider sending me something on PayPal. And best of luck this weekend. Hopefully people watch this video. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to you guys later in the week for the other videos I got to record.